Alright, so now what I'm doing is now that I've got a lot of data collected and plugged into the unifile for the way I'm structuring my World War II unifile for my World War II game. Um, I'm now beginning to create a consistent uniform for units across the board. And once I get this established, these are all infantry type units, wheeled, half track, and leg. This is Poland and Germany, synchronized. Um, Once I get this established, this initial layout, it'll be much easier to implement this standard for everything else going forward. So what I've got here is units that use this bullet for the most part. 79257 Mauser, um, which is probably, I don't know, I'm just saying, talking out of my ass, coming up with the statement right off the top of my head. It's probably the most common bullet used during World War II, minus um, Soviet or American makes. But the Mauser 98 or Mauser 79257 is probably the most common bullet. Otherwise, literally is used by all these units, including Polish units that use different guns. The WZ-31 gun or the WZ-31 soldier used different standard issue rifle than the German Grenadier, but they use the same bullet essentially. So that's nice because it makes coming up with soft attack, hard attack, and forward attack values for various units simple. If they use the same bullet, it gets the same value. So all these that have the 2.5 value use the Mauser 79257 bullet for their armament, regardless of what the armament is. Now that is what creates the separation um, in regard to how to make units perform better than others in the game. The bullet essentially does the same damage, so they all have the same stats. But the combat time, which means what the soldier carried and fires per round, this is the multiplier that these numbers are multiplied by. This is my Grenadier. I have him carrying 35 rounds. He has a clip for the Carabiner 98 or whatever it was. I'm pretty sure that's what it was that the Germans had for standard issue by the World War II era. 5 round clip is what that gun took, but the soldier, I came up with that figure. I gave the guy 6 extra clips, and that brings that total weight to 0.42 kilograms, which is pretty consistent with tonnage. 1.0 would be 1 ton. So in other words, this guy takes 35 shots at this damage, deals this damage in a perfect combat situation 35 times, and it costs that much supply. This is his initiative. This is the rate at which he reloads. This means this 20 right here uh, means that the Obergrenadier should be like the captain, who carries the same amount of ammunition, same weight of ammunition, obviously, has a slightly higher initiative because he's a better trained soldier. He's more invested into the military, and therefore he can fire 5 more rounds per minute than the standard private first class, the grenadier. That's just being logical. And then the Gefreiter, which would be like the squad leader, I got him at the maximum. He has the highest initiative of the rifle carrying infantry soldiers of the here. Again, his stats are the same. He's using the same weapon, so all this is the same, but he's got a higher initiative rating, so he'll resupply and be able to fire slightly faster than the Ober Grenadier, and back down to the Grenadier being the slowest reloader. The machine gun 34 soldier, same bullet being fired, so I can take all these stats and they're all the same. Supply cap is multiplied by 50 because the MG34 is typically fired from, yeah, it's the MG34 feed system. 50 round drum or 75 round drum magazine with modification. So that's how many shots a soldier's taken per shot. So I take the bullet statistics and multiply that by 50 to get the supply cap, which is how much supply he'll use per shot. And that's 0.48 kilograms. So every time he takes a shot at 50 bullets, it'll use that much supply. And he's got a very high initiative because the MG34 had a high rate of fire, 800, 900 rounds a minute. That's theoretical. That's on paper. That's the maximum rating for the gun. It realistically couldn't do that because the barrel would overheat and warp, and the soldiers just can't keep up with that rate of fire in the process of reloading and whatnot. The gun will get so hot you wouldn't be able to hold it. So the practical rate of fire is 150 rounds a minute for that gun. So that's what the MG34 soldier also gets. So he's going to fire and deal the same damage, but at a rate of 50 times, as opposed to the Grenadier dealing the same damage at a rate of 35 times. And in addition to that, he's going to reload an infinite number of times, not an infinite number of times faster. He's going to reload approximately 10 times faster than the Grenadier will. So he's going to be a much more effective unit. Although his stats, his attack values read the same as the Grenadier, he's going to be a much more powerful unit than the standard Grenadier, just based on what his weapon does in the game. So that's how I got that laid out. This is the Picotti WZ-35. It's an anti-tank rifle. That is an anti-tank rifle, and it's significantly more powerful due to the way the cartridge is packed. So it's going to deal slightly more damage per shot than the standard Mauser 7.92.57. So I gave that a bump up, heart attack, but he's got a close range to deal that damage, and low air attack. If like a Junkers plane happens to try to dive bomb his location, he can shoot it. But he doesn't have a very long range at all. Um, that's not done yet. This one is. .5. So he's only got half a kilometer to deal that maximum damage. So it's a powerful gun, but you got to be real up close to the opposing units to deal that damage. It's the Polish mountain troops. I gave them slightly lower initiative than the German mountain troops. For obvious reasons, it's not an insult towards the Polish mountain troops or the training that they endure to become or to achieve the level of excellence in their field of service that they do. It's based on historical outcomes. By default, the Gebirgsjäger will have a higher rate of initiative than the Polish mountain forces, just because in history the Germans kind of mopped the floor with Poland in 1939, so that's why it sets it that way. But like I said, it's nothing personal, or it's not related to my personal opinion. It's based on historical facts. It's a good form of logic based on what history details and unfolds to my knowledge index. I'm Polish and German. I got nothing against either fucking nationality. I'm not a Nazi, although I only play as Nazi Germany in the game. Anyway, this is done, and this will be my new standard. I'm going to use these numbers to further detail my recon units next. All the units that use the MG34 will have these stats incorporated into their stats to some extent, or to a full extent, in addition to other weapons they might carry. So it's not that hard to do it. It's just you got to keep things uniform. You got to stay on top of everything, and you got to make sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's with every single unit you do. Otherwise, you could create a very off balance statistical proportion from unit to unit that would make the game unfair. So you got to make sure these are all dialed in correct and accordingly to achieve the desired effect of creating a realistic disparity amongst the units in the game for the World War II era. And that's my video for today. Love Jack.